I will first go live and then. So, what I wanted to share this morning or this evening is something what I was talking with one of my friend in the morning about Eckhart Tolle. So, he had sent one video and we started discussion on that. And while I was discussing with him, one good insight came to me that the all beings have one thing in common, that they create something. So this is applicable for all animals and birds and insects, humans. And if they were to be devas and Brahma, this creation is the same. So how does one perceive this creation? This power of creation is there with all of us. It's not that I am the only person who can create or somebody else is the only person who can create. This is there with all. So when there is creation, this power also has a power of imagination. And no creation can be possible without imagination. So the being then puts lot of energy in imagining to make it reality. So with imagination, one gets many ideas. This is where the chitta starts to flow out. So now that person or that being will start with many ideas. And when it comes to human world, these ideas now has to have some foundation. So you require some concepts that gets conceptualized. And the concept cannot work without theories. So we need to have certain theories of how things work and how things doesn't work, and there should be some proof. So every theoretical aspect ultimately proves or disproves something. And that's the reason it is called theorem. That means we need to have something. And that is basically to see whether that creation is right or wrong. So when there are theories, then there are views how something got created. And the views multiply itself into various forms through one's own way or one's own ability to understand those concepts and one's own ability to understand theories. So some people agree to that theory, some people doesn't agree to that theory, but again brought out as views. And one has view, he gets into opinionation because what he views is the only thing and what others view is not the right thing. So then these views create these opinions, and these opinions have to be debated. Why it has to be debated? Because to get into that creation, whose creation is good? Is my creation good or that other person's creation is good? At this stage, I'm not able to realize that everybody has this power of creation. But I feel I have the only the power of creation, and that person also sees the same thing, that he has alone the power of creation. And this debate doesn't last in a very nice format, because now you have to create a format for debate. So there is a time set, and there is people who join and they ask questions and they ask queries. They challenge that person, and then the person has to answer. Now, the objective of that debate is to say whether what is created is right or wrong. So that is totally forgotten. It ultimately becomes who is going to win the debate, whether that person wins or this person wins. The person who wins feel proud about his achievement. The person who loses it feel very disgusted, very much pained by that. And then the person gets into fights. So the next thing what happens with debates is that it turns into fight, into brawl, into arguments, into hitting each other, into doing so many immoral things which really was not required. If somebody knew that everyone has this power of creation, and now not able to understand this, there are two extreme views which get created. One, a set of people start going behind who the creator is. So now there should be a God, because I don't know who the creator is now. Just like if I were to give some examples, the husband and wife are there. That's a creation. Now, this creation has that why this has come as husband and wife is because there is an imagination that there is a husband and there is a wife. And because there is an imagination of husband and wife, there are ideas about how the husband should be and how the wife should be. And comes the roles and responsibility for the husband and wife, because that is presumed to be so in this idea. And this idea gets into conceptualization, and that is where this roles and definitions of how the person who is a good husband, who is a good wife, gets solidified. And with that comes theories. When this theory starts, it comes with a lot of stories. So we will now have stories which say, in the past, who was a good wife, in the past, who was a good husband. So then you should be that good wife and that good husband. So, whatever that wife and that husband was in the past, if you are that husband and wife now, you would certainly feel happiness. You will have a happy married life. And no marriage till date is happy. But that's again a concept. So, then there's a theory that happiness is got through marriage, and that gets into views that is based upon the story what has been created. Okay, this is good husband and this is bad husband. Then comparison is made between other wives and other husband, or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It doesn't matter what we call that as, because that is the power of creation. So you can go in creating boyfriends, girlfriends, and then wives and husbands and children and office and all that. So we can keep on creating that. So as much as we create these theories, so one gets into the views. And when the views are there, the views are compared. And that becomes opinion. So in my opinion, this is what it is. In her opinion, this is what it is, and all that will happen. Now that again has to be debated. Whose opinion is correct? Wife's opinion is correct or the husband opinion is correct? So then you have court. Because you need to have another set of people who would then debate and say that who is right and who is wrong. Now with those debates, one gets argumentative. So there should be a lawyer or an attorney who fights for one party and another one for another party. So there are arguments and there are counter arguments to prove what is right and what is wrong. Who is right? Husband is right or the wife is right? And with that, the fights, and then with that, the whole mass of suffering. And then the child comes, and child doesn't know that the parents are the creator initially. And after some time, it starts to believe that my parents are indeed my creator. So eventually, what would happen is every being will start to see that somebody has already arrived earlier than that being and start to feel the creator, that my parents created me, that this being created me, or that being created me. So this is one view to find out who the creator is. So the God is a creator for everyone. So how did we all come to be? We all came to be by God, by God's grace. We are here. How do you go out of this place? Now there is no answer to that. But still we can use by God's grace we all will die. Okay. But that nobody uses. So it's only one-sided, that by God's grace we are all here. And by our own grace we are going to die. Then that should be the answer. But that again cannot be thought about or comprehended. So then we stop with the God is the creator, and then we have to then satisfy the things or the obligation what the God wants. Otherwise the God is going to punish us in every different way possible. So the pain is encountered by that being. So he or she would now start to believe that the God is doing something. This is one view. And there is another view which comes, extreme view, annihilation. That is, there is no creator, there is nothing at all. So when the person dies, everything is gone. Or when the being dies from mosquito, or even um, if we take amoeba to, or all kind of life forms which are there, after they're annihilated, that's it. So generally these two views get formed. When these views get formed, and then the opinion starts, and then the beings which believe in one group will fight with another group. That is, the persons who believe in creator will call those non-believers as atheist, and those people who feel that these people believe in something, and they call them as theist. So then you have atheist and theist, and then the religions get formed accordingly to cater to both the parties. So you will have argumentative class which argues with one with the another, because all are conceptual. So when something is conceptual, it only lands on theory. And when there are theories, there should be some story. And when there is story, everything else is forgotten, because now story becomes real. So then comes past. In the past, so and so country, so and so people, so and so community were leading a life of so and so. So if you were to follow them, you will be happy. But that condition is no longer valid now. But yet, those books, those literature, those thoughts processes says that this is what you need to be doing to be happy. So they start wearing those attires which were thousands and thousands of years ago, and then they believe even now that should be the same thing. So when then they keep on changing their attire, their dress codes. So then comes the dress code, what should be worn, what shouldn't be worn, and how you should sit and how you should stand, how you should talk and how you should walk, who is civilized, who is uncivilized. So many things come out of the creation, the power of creation. So This power of creation creates so many different opinions that you don't know, or nobody can really penetrate and see. They are just imaginations and concepts, nothing else. And second thing which gets missed out is the pain you have to take in making those concepts real. And the third important factor, or that should be the first thing, is that everyone has the power of creation. Every being has the power of creation. And when we see this power of creation, that can be called as Brahma, because the mind is so elevated that it can create anything at wish. So some people, be in business, be in professions, be in art and culture, be in religion, be in science and technology, they can create before anybody could think. They could create, and when they create, they get into imagination, better imagination. And when they get into better imagination, or imagination, forget the word better, then they get into ideas of how to make it happen. And then they find the pool of resources who can then make that dream a reality. So creation is made successful, but it comes at a cost, the pain one has to undergo. And after the pain has been taken, there is destruction. No products can sustain for a long time. So it goes out of market. Again, you have to create. Again, you try sustaining it through some means or the other. And it goes out of market. Then again, you create. So there is a creation, there is sustenance, and there is destruction. The sustenance comes with the severe pain. Now I need to convince hundreds of people about my creation. Then I need to look at my imagination and make them imagine the same thing, which is a pain. And with that imagination, I need to create ideas on how this will work. Then with those ideas, I need to create concepts. And with those concepts, I have to create theories. And from that theory, I have to create a story. So every product line has a story. Every organization has a story. Every requirement has a story. You need to create a lot of stories. And with those stories, I need to say what's the use of this story and how it helps. So there should be benefits. So I have to make a cost benefit analysis. What's the pain? That is the cost. What is the benefit of that pain? And I need to analyze and say that, okay, if you were to invest, if you were to do this, if you were to do that, you're going to be happy in the future. It's always future driven. You cannot do anything on the past. So you have lost the past, but then you want something in the future. Or I want something in the future. So my happiness is in the future. Now, when I get into the future, it always with views. What I view is the future. That's the only future. Nothing else can exist. And when that views comes, the opinion comes, and then the debate comes, and then all that will happen. So let's take another example. Let's take medicine. Medicine is required for what? For curing diseases. So first and foremost, there should be diseases so that there is a cure for diseases. What if their diseases were not there? Then the medicine is also not there. So because there is a dependency that diseases are there, the medicine is required. So the condition here is medicine is required only when the condition of disease is going to be met. But now I create a medicine. How do I create a medicine? through the imagination. How does that imagination come to be? Because I have the creative power. And this creative power helps me to next do a fantastic job, is the idea. So, two kinds of ideas come. One kind of idea is what all should be mixed in what proportion to make this happen, which I call it as a lab. And then the next idea is how to make it available to the public, which is the right thing to do, basically. Till there, no problem. But then comes the concept. Because now you have to convince those people who can invest in my lab about this medicine. Because I don't have money to do that myself. For my laboratory, it's okay. But really, to make it commercially available, I require money. So for which I have to create a concept. And when the concepts comes through, it has to come with theories. And that theory, all that, whatever I've explained earlier. So this is a cycle of suffering. A complete cycle of suffering. So there are many philosophies which cater to one kind, which is happiness. And there is another philosophy which caters to looking at suffering or the pain one has to take. So one talks about the pleasure only component. Another one talks about the pain component in search of pleasure. There are only two of these philosophies if we were to add things up. So the philosophies which look into the pleasure or the bliss believes that you can reach the highest, which is bliss, supreme bliss, by knowing what is bliss, which is again conceptual. Not that you will not get it, but it is difficult for everyone to get that because the creator, the creation is within you. So, till you understand this creation and why you are creating certain things for yourself, there can't be any peace. Because the bliss is when only the creation and destruction is not happening, because there is movement. If something is getting created, it's getting destroyed. And again, you have to get created and destroyed. Again, you create, again, destroy. And this is what the whole nature is all about. So nothing anybody can do. If I stick onto the creator side, the destruction side is happening. I have no idea. I'm helpless to see it is getting destroyed in front of me. If I stay in destruction, I can see that it's getting created also. So I have no idea how this whole thing is working. So then I need to find the middle path, the middle ground, where I can see both the extreme of creation and another extreme of destruction. Because being in the middle, neither I am into creation nor I am into destruction. So basically, what's the philosophy then to see this? Samatva, equanimity. Or what's the one I need to follow then? Well, there are three flavors. If we were to summarize everything up, or rather four flavors. One flavor is what is called as Sankhya, the oldest of it, but it talks about the two states and somewhat in the middle. But that is good. There's no concept of God. There's no concept of somebody as a creator. And there is another philosophy called as Yoga Sutra, and that has a God to some extent, not to the extent of going and praying or doing something, but there is a concept of God. It's okay, but then It's a one needs to tread through everything to get there. Then the third way of doing it is Vedanta, non-dual, which is straightforward but highly conceptual. But when you get the concept, when you get to know what the idea was when this was done, and when you see the what's the imagination was in that in real, and you come to see the creator in everyone, and every being has the same creator. There is no other to creation. There is no individual at all. Then you see the bliss. So these three on one side, and then looking at the pain cycle on the other side, which is the Buddha teaching. So basically, we can have these four, and we can take Jain philosophy also, which makes good sense. And like that, there are various others which comes, but you will see that either you will go in search of creator because you want to know who the creator is, how this power came to me, how the power of creation came to me. So that means somebody has given it to me. So I spend my time in hunting or searching for that creator because I want to tell him that he has done very good job in creation or he has done very bad job in creation depending upon what my state is. If I am in pleasure, I thank the creator, but if I'm in pain, I don't want to thank the creator because I don't know what made him to give me this kind of life. So I want to go and meet him and find out what made you create me in this way where I'm suffering so tremendously. If you could have created in a pop, in a appropriate and proper way, I think it would have been better. So then annihilation is the another side of the coin, but there is middle ground which is called as shramana in Sanskrit or samana in Pali. What it means is one's own effort. So you find who the creator from your own effort by putting your own effort, not through a third party, not through an agent, not through an agency. You find on your own because you are the creator. There's nobody else who's created pain or pleasure for you other than yourself. Now, the question is how this pain or pleasure is happening in creation. It's happening due to craving. So, if we were to take the pain we have to undergo in order to satisfy the creation, whatever we are creating, the family or the relationships or the whatever, jobs or this technology or whatever we are doing in this world, goes through creation and destruction only. It doesn't go through any other way, and there is no way we can sustain it. It seems to stay for some time, but then it goes away. In everything, whether it is a laptop or it is a computer or it is a cable or it is a house or it is a furniture, it is a relationship, all gets stale. Everything becomes stale in the end. Food becomes stale. You can't keep the grains for a long time. It gets stale. It loses its essence. If I store grains without taking care, it loses essence and insects will start feeding on it and I don't get my food. So basically, we can see that whatever gets created gets destroyed. And no matter how much foolishly I put my energy in searching the creator on one side or believing that at annihilation, at death, or dissolution, everything goes away. I'm treading between two extremes, not knowing the middle. But when I really see how this creation happened through me, I find that due to craving, I'm creating something. And because that I crave for that to be there, I can imagine it to be right there. And because just imagination cannot satisfy that existence, I then need to come up with ideas. And when I come up with ideas, two other things are going to happen. One is that I get into feeling of how I've created it. And I start perceiving that idea is going to get into a proper shape. So with this feeling and perception, I start my conceptualization. And when the concepts start to take shape, the theory has to happen. Otherwise, there's nothing anybody can do on its own creation. So we have to then have lot of books, lot of literature, lot of ink has to be spent, lot of trees have to be cut in order to make room for the books to be there. Interpretations, counter interpretations, summaries, and then you have commentaries, you have journals, and then you have these essay books. There are so many of them for the story. And when the stories and theories are there, views are 100% going to be there. And all of that from creation onwards is a pain. Pain to do what? To sustain that creation because of my craving. So I have three kinds of craving. One is for the sensual craving, what I want to enjoy through the five senses. Then I want to have a peaceful abode called as a material plane of existence. And that's again a craving. And the third is the formless realm, because that's again written that it is such a nice place to be. So whatever is nice, I need to have that nice. So we are all here to seek pleasure. In the name of pleasure, in getting that pleasure, we have to take sufficient amount of pain in every aspect, in convincing people, to confusing people, to working out with people and all that. Another examples comes to my view now, or another example I want to share. So the basic idea of product development is to work together. Otherwise, one single individual cannot do anything, cannot do everything. He requires, or she requires, a set of people. So this is how the Brahma can be really perceived, that everyone has to be together to get a creation. Not my creation, everybody has to be there supporting that creative thought which has manifested, or which I'm imagining how it should be, and the idea has come. So that means all these mindsets have to agree with that idea. So the objective is only this, that every mindset have to work together for something to come out. And now to make that happen, we have to again come up with a different creation called as some way of putting things, of making people work together. So then we can bring in the concept of motivation, then we can bring into the concept of agility, then we can bring into concept of stability, then we can bring into the concept of courage, we can bring into the concept of the community. Then we can bring into concept of belongingness. Then we can get into a concept of feeling proud of being in that team or this team. So when all of this starts, there should be enough theory. So we have a lot of motivational theories. Then there are a lot of agility theories. Then there are a lot of these theories which will talk about stability, and then talk about how to do the product development in the much shorter timeline, how the investments can be increased and how the profit can be increased and all of that. And then it gets messier and messier as we go into debates, and then the fight of which team is good and which team is not good, and which person is good, which person is not good, and then the creation itself is destroyed, basically, because everybody has their own view, their own agendas, because they are not convinced on that creation, even though all are in creation, but they create whatever they want to create. They don't want to agree with one person's creation because there is no profit. So how does craving come to be? Craving comes to be when I add value to something which is literally no value. It's essenceless, but still I feel valuable. Now, who is valuable? I am the most valuable commodity. And hence I suffer. So, what if there is no value attached to it? What happens? Then the craving is not there. Now there is relief from the pain. So, one way to understand anatta, and in most of the books it is written as non self, it means there is no personality, there is no person. So, what it really means is that there is no value. Even though we talk about values, we talk about value stream, we talk about value stream engineering, we talk about value product development, we have value for everything, but actually by itself doesn't have any value. It has a monetary value at the max. It doesn't have any other value. So what I am valuing is what is literally cannot be valued, or there's no value. But what I am not valuing is what should be valued, which is the creative force behind everything. And that I don't know. So I call it as God. So only when then the craving ends, then you are in Nibbana. Because all the concepts, all the ideas, opinion, thoughts, and this and that are gone. There is no holding on to raga, which is desire, and dvesha, which is the hatredness of somebody's views and comments and all of that. And there is no delusion any longer. And without these three, that is greed, hatred, and delusion, there is nothing else in this world. So when I'm not attached to these three, there is no suffering, or there's no pain of holding anything. There's a relief from that pain. And when this relief from that pain, I know I have ended the pain, and hence no pain. So this is what I wanted to share about today's insight on how each one of these work. And when you stop, or when I stop getting into opinions, getting into views, getting into theories, getting into story, getting into concepts, and getting into ideas and imagination and creation, the pain ends. So then there are absurd questions which comes up. Looking at one person, what do you think? Where has he reached? That's again an opinion, which can create fights. If he knows the road, what he should do? He should walk the road. So, what could a philosophy teach us? The road only. But if I were to get opinionated on that road, what happens? I also fail, and I'll make others also fail along with me. Because in their imagination, they have something. In my imagination, I have something. And now, how then these two imagination be one? Not possible. So, what's the better approach for me? Not to get into opinions. And that is the right thing to do also, because I don't know if he is following something or she is following something which is in line with the teachings. He will eventually or she will eventually reach where that leads him or her to. If that person were to ask me, is this the right road to take? I can only say that, look, from so and so reference, I can tell you this is a wrong road. Not from my side. From this reference point, you are on the wrong road. No, I feel that I can reach that place. Okay, continue. And not trouble myself with the views and opinions, because that is their view and opinion. Because everybody has the power of creation. So they can create the views and opinion also. So I have no right to change somebody's view and opinion just because I don't like it. And now if I say I don't like it, I get into dvesha. If I say I like somebody's opinion, then I get into raga. Not knowing that they are just opinion and views. And opinion and views cannot be sustained without a theory and a story with that. So whenever we read stories, it makes us believe in that opinions and views. When we drop all of this, the papancha or prapancha is no longer there. Because there is no thinking on that. So when there is no thinking, there is no perception. When there is no perception, there is no feeling. And when there is no feeling, everything is laid to rest. There is no suffering at all. Because of the eye and the sight and the consciousness, ear and the sound and the consciousness, and all of them. Because all the six have consciousness. They come and go, they come and go. When the senses are properly guarded from the sense objects, the mind doesn't move. When the mind doesn't move, it just stays. Why it stays? Because it's got rid of craving to all of this. And hence, supreme peace is established. Not have to know who the creator is on one side, and not having to believe that at annihilation, everything ends. And both are views only. So what is a proper view then? Proper view is to see the pain, dukkha. Then the cause of that pain, what one takes in due to his or her own creation, is the craving. And what's the way out of that? Stopping the craving and seeing things as they really are. And what's the steps followed? The Eightfold Path. So then can I follow some other philosophy? Yes, absolutely. As long as it can show you pain rather than the bliss. If you're able to watch the pain, you'll come to see that everything that gets created gets destroyed. So Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Creation, sustenance, destruction. What we have to be there is Sthiti, sustenance. And that cannot be there because every creation creates destruction. So, what's the way out? Stop the craving. Then there is neither creation nor destruction. When you lose both, when there is no creation and destruction, then you attain peace, which is sthiti. Then you are in the middle, two ends and the middle. This is the middle, sthiti. If I stay on creation, destruction is certain. If I stay on destruction, creation is certain. If I stay in the middle, neither the creation nor the destruction is going to be there. And hence, deathless is experienced. Because only when something is created, then only it get destroyed. If nothing is created, there's nothing to get destroyed. That's it, and thanks for listening. Do you have any questions, Lata and Srihari? You have attended.
You have stopped streaming.
I've stopped streaming.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's a good session about how we create and imagine and create and then suffer. So there is some kind of what do you say? There is some kind of expectation we have inside, some kind of desires, and we try to, and maybe in the outside it is different. So we try to make it matched. Whatever is there inside you, you want to make it outside.
Correct.
Also, and that's where you feel. That is where you feel that suffering. If you let the outside, whatever it is, you just eat it, then I don't think there's any suffering.
Absolutely.
And don't have any of your own suffering. Sorry, any of your own desires.
Yes.
So then it is fun.
Yes, it is fun. So the desire is the root cause of suffering.
Correct. And desire is in another word is craving.
Yes, it's craving.
What you mentioned.
Yes.
Correct.
So when I crave, it should be this way because I have already the creative force. I feel I am the creator. This is my product.
Yeah, correct.
This is my technology.
And correct. So and that it has to be my idea which has been implemented.
Yes.
And others' idea I don't want to accept. So that's where in the office world we create all that kind of emotions and anxiety, worry, anger, frustration, and all that stuff.
Correct. I forgot to add another thing. To make my idea not copy, so I bring copyright acts. Then I have
Correct.
IP, intellectual property. Then I go for patenting. Because I'm so obsessed with my craving for that idea that I don't want to let it go.
Yeah, correct.
So then we have these hackathons and this kind of idea making, because then we can encash those ideas and make our happy family in the future, where it's only filled with pain.
Yeah, that is correct. So even that's but another thing which I have observed. So if you are not on watch on your mind, what comes up, some impulses comes up and some emotions will come, then that is created. So then you will have to wait it out. Maybe it is short if you are watching it, but it will run its course. It will start, it will sustain, it will go down.
Correct.
If you are able to stop before it comes, or if you stop giving it energy before it manifests, then I guess you can be in that tranquility what you are talking about, in middle.
Yes, in the middle, because all of us want to be in sthiti.
Yes, you want always to sustain, but and that's the thing. So you always want that stability, and whatever we have created should exist forever.
Correct.
That's what we want.
Correct.
But that never happens.
That can never happen because it is my creation.
Creation.
And my creation.
So it will get.
Yeah, go ahead.
Correct. Yeah, my creation anyway will get distracted.
and which I don't want.
Yes.
So all my productization, all my way of working is towards that sustenance, which is sthiti, which cannot be met.
Yeah. And the same thing with our own family, right? So our house we want to buy a new house. We bought the house. We put things inside. Then you have to maintain it continuously.
Correct. Which is
Keep
sthiti,
on maintaining it.
which is pain.
Sthiti.
Yes. So now you have to
Yes.
take pain to maintain something.
Yeah. And that is one thing. And then again, you have to maintain ourselves. You have to keep on earning for food, buy food, make it, eat it. Again, next day you do the same thing. The next day you do the same thing. You continue and continue and continue the same thing.
Yes.
There's no end to it.
Yes.
So I think
Because
this is what you want to convey.
correct. And because I got created, now I have to do all of this. What
Yes.
if the I is not created at all?
Yeah. Then there's nothing to be done.
Then there's nothing to be done because there is no creation, there is no destruction, there's only sthiti.
Only study. That's why I think that you have to stay in that Brahman state, awareness state. So then you don't have to do anything actually.
Yes, you don't have to
That
do.
doesn't need anything.
That doesn't need anything to sustain. It's always there.
Always there. Correct, correct.
But when I create
Yeah.
something out of that, it's going to go to destruction. And it can never have
I think
sustenance.
that yeah, that is what we are superimposing.
Yes.
Right? So we are superimposing those things. Uh, like for example, you have a person, you superimpose that person as a father or a mother or a husband or a child. So it is superimposed, and that's your creation, and
Yes.
that's why you suffer.
Yes. Because it goes into destruction.
Destruction. Yes, right.
And the problem is with vikalpa, imagination.
Hmm.
If creation was just a creation, then there's no problem. It immediately gets into
Yeah, yeah.
imagination.
Right. Yes, yes.
And with imagination comes ideas. How to
Yeah,
make that
there are two
imagination
things.
true? Yeah, go ahead.
Correct. There are two things, right? One is Ishvara Srishti and then Jiva Srishti, isn't it?
Yes.
Ishvara Srishti is all those beings and all that. And then Jiva Srishti is why we are suffering.
Yes.
Our Srishti is all that relationships and all that stuff.
Now, when we say Ishvara Sisti, that means I'm going in search of that Sisti who created me. That is another problem now.
Mm.
Because somebody should have created me, right?
Right, right.
Apart from my father and mother, there should be someone who created me. So, who is my creator? And why am I created
Actually,
this
you
way?
cannot you cannot find that actually.
You
Actually, you are
cannot
not
find.
created at all.
Yes. So,
You,
we struggle in finding that creator throughout lives, and we will never find that creator because the problem is like this: whatever got created right now, my body or whatever it is, when there is pain in the body, I don't know how to get rid of that pain because that creator has created it, right? So then I have to then say that what mistake I did in order to get this punishment. I don't realize that irrespective of however the body is, it's getting destroyed.
yeah, that's right. I think we have to take our own responsibility for what you are and what you
Yes.
experience.
So that is the middle path. Rather than going on two views, that is the creator view on one side and annihilation view on the other side, we have to take responsibility for what we have created for ourselves rather than searching for someone who created us.
And then leaving everything. So that is anyway a bhakti marga.
Yes,
If
so
that is
then
it.
it becomes very fundamentally problem because now they have this Srishtikarta, one who has created us. So then he has to sustain it, right? Why I should sustain? Then he has to sustain. So I have to pray to that God,
Mm.
Almighty God. Why you are not taking care of me? Then that nirvikalpa does not happen. It's only savikalpa, which is self-imagined. The power of imagination is so strong that it can create whatever you imagine. So The creation comes with imagination only. And letting go of
Right.
that imagination is almost impossible. So the suffering is also impossible. So there are two sides to go to liberation. One from blissful Satchidananda, and another side is to go from the pain. Now the choice from pain, it is easy to see the pain, then bliss can be seen. But if you go from the bliss, pain I don't want to see anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, it's not so easy to see this pain also, Vilas.
Yes, so both are difficult.
It's you need to have a certain maturity of mind to understand there is pain,
Correct. Agreeable. So
especially when you are happy. When you are happy and everything is going well, it's very difficult to see the pain.
yes, that is very true. See, the eating is a pain, sleeping is a pain, stretching the body is a pain, everything is a pain. But then I feel that no, there's no pain. In fact, I had one friend coming over there 2 days ago. I was asking him, don't you see it's a pain? He says, no. It's a
You
very
enjoy
good.
it.
Yeah, so he says
Even
that,
food also.
yes,
Even food also, we enjoy it.
yes,
We want to eat, right? We want to have that buffet, different kinds of food. You want to enjoy it.
correct. So I was asking him,
But you,
yeah, go ahead.
yes, tell me.
No,
No,
I
no,
was
tell, tell.
asking him, have you ever thought that you have to keep on eating food and you're going to get sick because you're eating food? There's no other way to fall sick rather than eating. And if you don't eat, also is a problem, pain. If you eat, also there is a pain. And he didn't have an answer. He said that that is how it is. So I enjoy food.
Yeah, so I think if you think deeply and then say assume that for an instance we don't have to eat food, how free you will be.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's why I try to starve myself, and it is not working out. So
No, you shouldn't be starving. You shouldn't be eating too much also. So again, there we have to bring in the middle path.
middle path. Yeah, I tried, but it didn't work out
Okay. Srihari, you want to
because
say
not
something?
possible.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, correct.
No, no, Vilas. I mean, it's very good insight. Maybe there are some points related to value and then all that perceptions and all. I will uh, re-listen this recording.
Okay.
Please.
Sure. It's simple, Srihari. If you don't have value, let's say you have hundreds of 100 rupee notes. So 100 into 100 is becomes 10,000. Now Indian rupees is Indian rupees. Now I have 100 into 100, 10,000 of American currency. Which is better now? Indian currency or American currency? What do you think?
No, when you say value, not explicit, not in terms of that, you indicated about the role or kind of that kind of a value or the perceptions but the perceptions come from the role. And if we drop the role, which means we are dropping the value of that particular role also.
Yes. No, that is very deep. So let's go from shallow. So which is better
No.
now? 10,000 Indian rupee notes is better or $10,000 is better?
From comparative, it is $10,000.
Yeah, because there is a value higher, right? There's a multiplication factor, right? So if you ask someone, do you want to keep 10,000 Indian currency or 10,000 American currency? Which one will you want to keep?
The higher,
Higher
whatever
one,
the value.
right?
Which,
What if the very next moment they both are demonetized? Then what happens?
Both are not
there is,
required.
yeah,
Both are paper now,
paper no, yeah,
right?
becomes heavy in the pocket.
Becomes heavy in the pocket. Now you have to only throw it, and then because that they say that it is a fake currency, it is not real. So then
Mm.
it has to be thrown. You throw the paper. All along, what were you carrying? Value. Now you are not, right? Now you see the fun. You apply to every relationship now. You value the relationship, and hence you suffer. If you find the suffering or the pain in that person also, you will become compassionate, because that person is unnecessarily holding on to the value which doesn't have any value. So the perception here, like the currency, is 10,000 US dollars is much better than 10,000 Indian currency. Not realizing both are paper. In the same way, my perception says that this relationship is much valuable than that relationship. Not realizing that both of them will die one day, becomes demonetized. So then the suffering is brought into light. If I am not attached to that, or if I am not craving for it, then there is no problem at all. Every relationship has an equal value, samatha. So there is no worries, there is no anxiety, there is no fear, there is nothing, just peace. Okay, so let's end
Yeah.
for today then and meet on Monday.
Sure.
Okay, good day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.